Hello, BookTube. We are continuing with the library tour, not of all the books here at Hyde Cottage, nor even really of a quarter of them, but of the books in my little book room, this concentrated little space that I think everyone should have. On this, Virginia Woolf and I are in complete agreement. You should have a spot where you can close the door on the world, a spot that you have consciously constructed to be a place that will rejuvenate you. We see this in ancient writings. We see this in medieval writings. There are plenty of writers who have commented that they have managed to make such a space. It doesn't have to be big. This is a tiny space. The space I choose for this purpose is always tiny. But it helps if you consciously make it. Consciously decide what it will be. Make it all of your favorite stuff so that it rejuvenates you when you're there. And my little book room, you can't see it from this angle. You can only see one bookcase behind me there. But this room is full, floor to ceiling, with books. This is the back of the door to the room, and I wish I could put a bookcase on it. I wish there were a way for me to store books on the back of a door. But we are dealing with the first of bookcase here in this room, where we're going to finish this first little bookcase now, today, with the top shelf. And we will start... is this from... the 1940s? It feels like it. It's got 1938. This is by Erle Stanley Gardner, and this is The D.A. Holds a Candle. This is one of a long-running series of books that he did about a crusading, handsome, tough, righteous young D.A. named Doug Selby. This is not the first book in the series, but whenever these crop up, especially in these older hardcovers, the ones with the pulpy paper, whenever these crop up, I in the wild, I grab them because I love this series. Just love it. And this shelf has a bunch of them. This is the first one. The DA Calls It Murder, which is one of these extremely lightweight little hardcovers that I just love. This is where we meet the DA. He has just won his office and encounters a dead body in a hotel and doesn't think that it's what it looks like. He thinks it's something else. And then we have the DA Cooks a Goose. I grab these vintage things whenever I can. Probably I'll never see any more of them, but I have some of them anyway. I have 5 of them. The DA Takes a Chance. And finally, the one that I have that I could not save the dust jacket at all. It was in tatters and shreds. I managed to save a bit of the cover and just tape it to the front of the naked hardcover. This is the DA Calls a Turn. So that at least I would have a reminder of the cover artwork, but I could not save it at all. And that's it. Those are the DA books that I have. A really good, spirited series. Very one-dimensional, very pulpy. There is no such thing as character work in any of these things. I would say that even so, Erle Stanley Gardner here does a little bit more work than in, for instance, the Perry Mason books, which have nothing at all but the story. They have nothing at all but the plot. These are a little bit more than that, so I wish I could find more. I wish I had a whole shelf of them. But God only knows. Like, for instance, if you were to go on eBay and look for this hardcover of The DA Calls It Murder, God only knows what it would cost. This cost me $1. But I have no idea what if the DA books by Erle Stanley Gardner are valuable in the secondhand market. And I don't want to know. I mean, I want to know. In a way, I'm curious. But I would never enter that market. I want these things to read, not for any other reason. And then we move from pulpy crime writing to heavier stuff. We have, for instance, 2 books by Y. Seller. W.Y. Seller. A classicist of the old school. These are from the 19th century. The first one of his that I have is The Roman Poets of the Republic, which is what is this? Piece of paper in here. There's a piece of paper from 1950. Somebody making notes themselves in 1950. They're noting first The Art of Teaching by Gil Hyatt. Examples most interesting. Yeah, okay, this is just a list of notes about The Art of Teaching, but it's not in that book. But this volume covers, let's see here, Lucretius, Catullus, a lot on both of these. The thing I like about Seller is that he goes on at great length. So if you're interested in these figures, and of course I am, you'll get a lot on them. There's Plautus and Lucilius, but it was not, Plautus is not known and Lucilius is not known at all. I thought there was one other big name in here. Looking at the table of contents, you have to be careful with these things, these older books. This thing is from okay. The impression here is 1930s, but this book came out in the 1880s. And there's another big figure in here that I feel certain that I'm missing here. Ennius, okay. And Pacuvius and whatnot. And that's the whole rundown that he gives you here. Everything that's known about them, and also a study of their verse, a study of their art. And you might think, well, the Roman poets of the Republic, isn't there a name? Okay, it's a completely empty neighborhood. Completely. Our walk at rush hour this morning, the Bean and I were walking in the middle of the street. So the only reason you're running your siren is because you feel like being a little boy. But anyway, you're looking at this book and you're thinking, okay, well, isn't there a name missing? Yeah, yeah, there is, because Cellar did a whole volume on Horace and others, but this is mostly about Horace, and it is wonderful. Oh, my. I have a whole bunch of books on Horace. Horace is one of my favorite writers, and there are a whole bunch of books on him in this room, but this is one of my favorites. Just exiled over here on this little bookcase. Okay, then we move forward in time to Dante. Also one of my favorite writers. Also lots and lots of Dante in this room. The first thing we have is something that we saw yesterday, actually. Yesterday we saw these two things. Two different translations of Dante's fascinating work, La Vita Nuova. Utterly fascinating. Such an enigmatic book that it calls translators to it regularly over the generations. And this is also a translation of La Vita Nuova. This is also from the 19th century. This is translated by Charles Eliot Norton, and he just calls it The New Life of Dante. It doesn't call it La Vita Nuova. When did you come out? 1898. This is a pure Steve book in the sense that if old friends of mine were at the Brattle Bookshop and they saw an old book on Dante, they would say, oh, hey, where's Steve? Is he out in sale lot? Go get him. He might not have this book. And if they saw an old book by or about Charles Eliot Norton, I know more about Charles Eliot Norton than anyone in the world. I know more about all of those 19th century Boston Brahmin intellectuals, all of whom are forgotten. The parvenus from the suburbs, Thoreau and Emerson, are remembered, but all the big names are forgotten, completely forgotten, except by me, except in this room. I know everything there is to know about Charles Eliot Norton. Read every scrap of writing that he ever did, and read everything about him by everybody that knew him. And so if somebody saw a translation of Dante by Charles Eliot Norton, they would come and get me in a hurry. So I guess with those transverse books up here, that would make 3 different translations of La Vita Nuova on one little bookcase, which is, I think in this room there are only 2 other translations. Well, we'll find out because we'll go through every book. And then the last book here on this shelf is John Addington Symonds. I know him really well too. I've written about him many, many times. And he did a study of Dante that is, in its opening material, a life of Dante. And then it moves on to wonderful, steeply intelligent analysis of Dante's writings. I don't want to be revanchist. I don't want to poo-poo the present. That's a good recipe for getting old. And if I don't want to poo-poo the present, well, I also don't want to necessarily poo-poo the 20th century, which is, I keep in mind, a quarter of a century ago. But the 19th century did for scholarship, in all languages in the West. Scholarship reached a pinnacle in the 19th century of just the muscularity of it, the readability of it, the literary insight of it. If this were written by an academic today with Symonds standing, and there aren't any, but if it were, it would almost certainly be full of academic jargon, academic doublespeak, turgid academic prose. It would be horrible. It would be meant only as a notch on a publication record, not to be read. And this was done at a time when you absolutely could not afford to do that. And there was not enough of a market for that. So you had to write well. Anyway, I don't quite know why. Actually, I don't know why the Cellar books are not over with the classics. And I don't know why La Vita Nuova is here instead of in the classics. And I don't know why this study of Dante is here instead of out with the biographies. I don't actually know the answer to any of those questions. But that is this shelf. A little bit short for a library tour this time around. And next time I have to figure out what to do. If we go in the sinful direction, the Protestant direction, then we will do this bookcase next. We'll be going counterclockwise. So I'll just turn the chair around and do that bookcase from floor to ceiling. Otherwise, the next bookcase is floor to ceiling Penguin Classics. And I don't know quite how to do that because I'm doing a daily Penguin. And if we went through every one of those Penguin Classics, it would be the rest of the year. So I'll figure it out. I'll think about it and I'll figure it out. But I'll be back either way for the next installment of this library tour, and I'll see you then. Thank you, BookTube.